Welcome back to another Love Island recap, everyone. I know y'all have been waiting for this. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I took the last 1.5 days off because I was catching up on other work and I feel like I'm constantly behind and it gives me so much anxiety, but you know, it is what it is. I am here. Mama Po is here to feed my little thoughtling. So I'm going to cover episodes 25 and 26, but 25, I'm just going to breeze right through it, okay? It's going to be more of a bullet point recap because I really want to get to episode 26. All right, so let's start with episode 25. Here we go. Now, my initial thoughts after watching episode 25 is I fear that I have fallen for Huda's redemption arc. I know, don't hate me, but I did feel kind of bad for her. But I do have to say, I know that currently Chelley and Olandria are getting a lot of hate, and I disagree with that. I feel like they had validity in what they were upset about, and we're going to get into that, okay? But I do have a little bit more empathy for Huda as well. So let's just breeze right through episode 25, and then we'll get to episode 26. Now, this is right after the heart rate challenge. Taylor says that he didn't kiss Olandria out of respect for Clark. Nick is very pissed off at Elan for making out with Cierra, bringing her to the heart, giving her all that special attention. He is so bothered. He is so upset. Brian is becoming less and less interested in Andreana. He feels like the conversations have fizzled out, they're boring, and there's really no chemistry anymore, and he kind of wants to get to know Jaden. Some of the guys are talking about Huda and her performance, and they even say she did too much.
Who do you think did the most? Do you think anybody went overboard?
Huda went over.
She went OD.
Taylor tells Olandria that he wanted to kiss her, but he didn't do it out of respect for Clark, and she kind of seems like she's eating it up, which is interesting given episode 26. Then he continues to feed her some bullshit about how he wanted to recouple with Olandria, like a part of him wanted to, but then another part of him wanted to pick Clark.
I wanted to, but I was like,
I could tell.
I was like, out of respect for her, like, I'm not gonna do it. My head said pick you, but my gut said pick her.
Huda vents to Chris about Chelley being mad at her, and then Chris does a very good job comforting her. He tells her to just talk to her, apologize.
I don't want her to be upset with me.
Of course. I totally get where you're coming
Because
from.
I'm not that person.
I don't think you are either. You know, and she knows that you don't fuck with Ace like that.
I think that in the moment I wasn't thinking about others and I was only thinking about myself. I should have been thinking about others.
And damn, I get that Huda feels bad and she didn't mean any harm. Like, I genuinely do believe her, but I think she needs to learn how to think about others. She doesn't really put herself in the other woman's shoes. Just like she said in her confessional, she even admits this. She needs to think a little bit more about how this would make my friend feel before doing whatever the hell she wants. And I feel like this is a little bit of growth, right? Her being able to recognize that and admitting that this is something she needs to work on. So Huda pulls Chelley for a chat. Chelley agrees, and then she changes her mind and she's like, you know what? Let's wait until tomorrow because I'm very angry, I'm very heated, and I don't want to say anything out of anger. And I think that was a great decision. I think that was very mature, and Huda respected her boundaries and was like, okay, we'll talk tomorrow.
Actually, tomorrow we can have a chat because tonight I don't want to have a chat. I know I'm aggravated and annoyed, so I don't want to say anything out of anger or anything like that.
Elan and Nick have a chat, and Nick tells him that he's very annoyed that he took Cierra to the heart to do a solo performance on her and how he made breakfast knowing that Nick had already made her breakfast. Now, I got very annoyed at this because I'm like, honestly, Nick, if this bothers you so damn much, stop being a little bitch, baby, and close things off with Cierra. If you want her all to yourself, make her your girlfriend. Make it official, but you won't, okay? He literally chose Jeremiah to go home for not exploring. So since you guys aren't closed off, let Cierra explore. The fuck?
I'm just really mad. I don't even... It just put me off in the wrong way, so...
Yeah. I didn't mean to put you off. I'm not here to fuck shit up.
Chelley and Ace chat. She tells him that the dance with Huda pissed her off, but she's not really mad at Ace and she's more mad at Huda, which really threw me off. Okay, Chelley was losing me in this moment because how are you not going to be mad at Ace? You need to have somewhat the same energy for Ace, okay? He's the one that you're interested in, and it takes two to tango. He grabbed her ass and bounced it repeatedly on his sausage. Maybe Chelley didn't see that. So I think they should play that scene on movie night. Now, Ace tells her that it pissed him off that she made out with Chris twice. And the fact that she still wants to explore things with Chris is also pissing him off. They're definitely not seeing eye to eye on this whole boundaries thing. Like, Ace doesn't feel like it's fair for her to set boundaries on him when she still wants to explore with Chris.
I feel you're an intentional person, and that seemed mad intentional to me.
I literally just watched you tonguing down every single person in the room and giving a big-ass fucking show. But you do have something to say about, oh, I circled back for a 2-second kiss. Like, are you serious right now?
Huda's feeling bad about herself. She's crying while she's eating something, and she asks Olandria for her opinion, and she kind of confides in her. She seeks comfort from her, and Olandria is like, well, yeah, I mean, you know, I wouldn't have done it.
Am I a terrible person?
I wouldn't say you're a terrible person. It was a little much. I'm gonna come back for my toasty.
There's very little empathy from Olandria. Now, a lot of people are saying that Olandria was such a mean girl for doing this, but you guys have to try and understand. They were fed up, okay? I'm talking about Chelley and Olandria because I know the discourse. Everybody is calling them mean girls, and I don't agree with that. The way I see it is Huda had been taking over the entire village. She was an emotional vampire the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long Jeremiah was there for. She had been crying, she had been complaining, she had been yelling, screaming about Jeremiah for weeks, okay, 24/7. They are tired. And sometimes when you are there for a specific friend who complains all the time and you have to listen to them and you have to be there for them over and over and over and over again, you are tired. And I think maybe she just didn't have the bandwidth to do it again. And so she removed herself from the situation. I don't think Olandria was a bitch by doing that. That is just my opinion, okay? But I did feel bad for Huda in that situation. I think she was genuinely sad. And you know what? Olandria didn't want to be there, so she removed herself. And Amaya came to be there for her. So, you know what? It worked out for her. It's bedtime. Taylor and Clark are in bed, and then he looks at her and tells her she's beautiful. Wow, I did not know he was capable of doing that or telling a woman that she's beautiful. I feel like we are watching a whole new person. The next morning, Chris makes Chelley and Huda breakfast. And then we get Pancake Gate 2.0.
And this morning, he gave her 2 pancakes and gave me 1. Gave her a flower and gave me none. So I'm like,
You gave her 2 pancakes and gave me 1.
Yeah.
Brother,
okay, the pancakes are fuck the pancakes.
It's the
I be
flour.
kinda-
It's the flour for me.
I didn't want to be pissed off, but I was kind of like irritated.
Huda approaches Chris later to let him know that she was bothered by the pancakes. How come Chelley got 2 pancakes? I only got 1. Chelley got a flower and I got none. And at first he looked genuinely shocked that she would even mention favoritism. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But then he apologizes and he's like, I understand you had a bad day and blah, blah, blah. And like, that was so immature, you know, to bring up the favoritism and the pancakes thing. But you know what? That's how she felt. She let him know and he apologized. And I guess, you know, she was feeling better. She felt comforted by that. She talks about how she's still sad over Chelley. She's still not talking to her. And she says, would it have been better if I were ugly? Again, showing us that she is so male-centered. She lives for male validation. And she, like, the fact that she is focusing and thinking about how if she were ugly, that Chelley wouldn't be as upset. Like, what? Girl. And I like how Chris was like, no, no, I don't think it would have mattered. I think it would have been just the same.
I just want to fix things with her already.
No, I get you.
But I'm giving her space. Like, if I was ugly, would it make it better?
No.
That was so cringy because that is not the point, Huda. The point is you didn't have to do that, and you did because it didn't cross your mind to think about how Chelley would feel if you took her man and bounced your ass on his face. Bling, they get a text. Cierra and Nick get sent out on a date, and I think this is the second date ever for the season, which is crazy to me that they have only been 2 dates and we're on episode 25. Jeremiah and Huda got the first date, and now Cierra and Nick get the second date. they go on a picnic and he's like, oh my God, you know, I always talked about this being my dream date. I never thought this would be true. And Cierra's like, oh my God, so are you saying that I'm your dream girl? And he goes,
Are you saying I'm your dream girl? Basically.
What the hell was that response? You know, Nick really confuses me. Like, I can't tell if he really likes her or if he thinks he likes her. But I guess he really likes her for now because he was telling her about how bothered he was with Elan. So he finally closes things off and she accepts, and now they're an official couple. I don't know if he did this because he felt threatened by Elan and that really pissed him off, and like the fact that she could still technically be exploring things with Elan, which I don't really think she was. She was just entertaining him so that Nick could feel pressured. And I think her plan worked because he did feel threatened, he did feel jealous, and he did end up closing things off. So ultimately, she got what she wanted. Olandria decides that she's going to give Zach with a K a chance. Now, while I'm happy for her, I'm very sad for Amaya. Why does it have to be Amaya's man? Chelley and Ace get into a little argument about the challenge again. Chelley says she kissed Chris for like 2 seconds while Huda and Ace made out for 10 minutes. And Ace decides that they are not in a place to close things off right now. Chelley gets upset and she leaves the conversation. I wonder if this was Chelley basically telling him that she wanted to close things off. I don't really get why they're fighting. Like, just make things official. And then the boundaries will be clear and you guys won't have to explore things. And then you guys won't get into a fight. I don't understand why they can't close things off. But that's just me. Chris catches up with Amaya. He's like, how are you doing with Zach? And she says he doesn't seem interested in talking to her or getting to know her. He never pulls her for a chat. He's more interested in hanging out with the guys. So Elan, he's kind of there hearing everything. So then he goes to Zach and gives him a heads up. Honestly, my thoughts are if Zach isn't genuinely interested in Amaya like that, then I think he should get to know Olandria and he needs to cut things off with Amaya because Amaya doesn't deserve to be led on again.
The last chat that Cierra and I had was basically like, hey, we don't know what's going to happen with this recoupling, but I told her my intentions and my energy is fully set on you. Yeah.
And as they're talking about this, Nick and Cierra walk into the villa back from their date. They're super happy and they announce that they've officially closed things off. So, sorry, Elan. By now, there's usually a couple or two that I'm rooting for at this point in the season, but Nick and Cierra, I just can't get behind them. I don't care for them. Sorry. And honestly, I'm still bitter that they dumped Hannah and Jeremiah. Elan pulls Amaya for a chat, and honestly, I would be so excited if he did explore things with her because he did mention earlier with Chris that she has such a big heart.
My sister moved to Belgium.
In Germany?
No, Brussels in Belgium. Belgium's like one of the countries.
Okay.
It's the same area.
First of all, I'm so sorry. I'm bad with maps,
you're fine.
obviously. Like the waffles.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really small country just north of France.
That's beautiful.
It's nighttime and Andriana pulls Pepe for a chat. Remember, she has a crush on him and she tells him that things aren't that great with Brian. And she asks him how he feels about exploring their connection, and he politely declines. That was such a huge shock because remember when Andreina walked in as a bombshell, he was shook as well as all the other men. But he pulled out his Spanish. He was like, oh my God, she's stunning. She's my type. But he declines and he says, you know what? I kind of want to see things through with Grayson and give her a fair shot. And I think we were all shook.
We want to explore our connection because obviously we already have connections.
You're an amazing girl, but like, I just want to see things through with Grayson.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole playing limbo with everything. You
Yeah,
know, you're going
I know.
back and forth.
Okay, I respect that.
I was almost positive that Pepe was going to ditch Grayson and move to Andreana as soon as she showed interest. But damn, he said no. Taylor and Clark chat about the heart rate challenge. She asks him if he thinks Olandria crossed the line by taking him to the heart and doing all that stuff. And he says yes. And she's very happy with that answer. But then he says he's still exploring things with her. Like, why? Why? You've said yourself you are not physically attracted to her. You just can't get there with her. You have Clark, who you absolutely like, and you find her so physically attractive. Like, keep pursuing things with her. Why are you pulling Olandria back in? Chris and Huda are chatting at the speakeasy, and then he tells her he's going to take a step back from Chelley and focus on her. And she's surprised, pleasantly surprised. And honestly, I think they're cute together. He brings out a very calm side of her. And I do agree with her that
I feel like Chris is such a mature man. It truly is different than a lot of guys that I've spoken to. I like the pace that we're going.
when she said Chris seems very mature, and this is no shade to Jeremiah, but I think it might just be like an age difference thing. You know, he is a little bit older. I think Jeremiah is more nerdy. He just can't handle Huda. And I think Chris can, because he even said himself that he attracts a lot of mentally unstable, or what do you say, emotionally unstable women.
I always attract emotionally unstable women.
Am I emotionally unstable?
I don't know yet.
Oh, God.
I mean, you don't seem like it.
No, I don't think I'm emotionally unstable.
And I'm like, damn, she lacks so much self-awareness. Like, it's really crazy. I hope she goes home and watches herself on TV and gains some self-awareness. Like, that could be the best lesson in the world, to watch yourself on TV and see how you are in real life, you know?
Have you ever cheated?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
Why?
It wasn't physical, it was emotional cheating.
You didn't fuck nobody else?
No.
My point is, I think because Chris has so much experience with emotionally unstable women that he knows how to handle Huda. This episode ends with Huda and Chris making out, and damn, were they making out. I felt the sparks. I think they have a lot of chemistry. All right, that's the end of episode 25. Let's go on to episode 26. I don't like Cierra. There you go. Okay, I don't like Cierra, and I have more empathy for Huda, but I do not hate Chelley and Olandria. I'm annoyed with them, but I don't hate them, and I don't think that they are mean girls. I think they made a mistake in how they handled Huda and how they decided to kind of pile on. They should have addressed her way before, when she was going crazy on Jeremiah, when she was verbally assaulting Jeremiah, when she was calling him a bitch, when she was complaining constantly, crying, crashing out over bombshells, crash out after crash out. They should have addressed her then. But to address her now, when she's in her calm era, no, that was the wrong time. That was the wrong time. And now it's making it seem like Chelley and Olandria are mean girls and piling on and just like not having any empathy for Huda. But I feel like there's a lot of nuance in this situation. We're going to get into it at the very end. So yeah, let's start from the very beginning of episode 26. Nick and Cierra are so happy that they close things off. I don't buy their relationship. I definitely think Cierra likes Nick a lot more than he likes her, and I think he only closed things off because he felt threatened by Elan. Jaden and Brian chat, and he lets her know that he's interested, and Jaden is intrigued. Nick pulls Huda for a chat to check up on her and to see how she's doing with Chelley, and Huda says she truly only thought of it as a challenge, and he tells her, I'm going to be honest, I think you crossed the line in the challenge. You really did too much when it came to Ace, and she's like, I know. I take accountability, and all I can do from this is learn from it. And Nick goes, okay, well, I'm here for you if you need me. And they hug. And she's like, oh my God, I fuck with you. Like, you're such a good friend to me, even though you tried to send me home twice. And he's like, yeah. So they hug. They're fine. I think we need to give Huda credit for acknowledging that what she did was wrong. She did indeed go too far. It's bedtime. Amaya's not too excited about going to bed with Zach because their chemistry has fizzled out so much. He's not showing interest in her. When they're in bed, Ace teases her about her snoring, and I was like, since when was he so nice to her? The next morning, everyone's hanging out, and Amaya hasn't talked to or seen Zach in a while, so she finds him, pulls him for a chat, and she tells him how she feels. And he's like, you have legs. You could have came to me. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding? And she tells him, well, I don't want to be the only one constantly pulling you for chats. Oh, and she starts to cry. Oh my God. I feel so bad for this girl. Maybe the show is just not for her. She probably felt like Zach was losing interest and he was pulling away, and it made her feel insecure again, and she probably felt defeated.
I just want to make sure that the seed that we planted of our connection is still being watered. If it's not being watered, then eventually the flowers will dry out.
You know what really makes me sad about Amaya is she came onto this show so bright. Her light was so bright. It was shining. She had so much energy and positivity. And With each episode and with each guy that she's been paired up with, her light has been becoming dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. It's so sad. I really need the Twitter challenge to happen and for Amaya to know that she is America's favorite. Huda tells Olandria that she and Chris made out at the speakeasy and that she's starting to like him. Now this is going to bite her in the ass later. Iris asks Grayson how things are with Pepe, and she says it's good, but she can feel him pulling back, like something is missing from his end, and she feels like it could be Hannah. Then we see Pepe telling the boys that he's been thinking of Hannah. Hannah has been on his mind and he feels like he's dragging Grayson along. He feels bad about it. And oh my God, first of all, that is a man to admit that. And he must have had really strong feelings for Hannah for him to still be thinking of her. Bling, they get a text. It's time for another challenge. It's time to find out what your fellow Islanders think of you. Yes, finally some tea. Finally some drama. Now, I really hope that this doesn't replace the Twitter challenge because I feel like America's voices need to be heard and these Islanders need to know what we think of them. But this challenge was great because finally, it's no more Friendship Island. Finally, the true, honest thoughts are shown and expressed. And I feel like we really needed that, but I wish we got this like 10 episodes ago. So how this challenge is going to go is everybody gets a postcard and they get to address whoever they want and air out their feelings. They can either sign their name or leave it anonymous. So everybody goes in their separate little corner with a friend or two and they write in their little postcards. And each Islander is going to go up to the front at the podium and read the postcards that they got. So first is Austin from Anonymous, and they basically say, I don't know how you made it this far. You put in no effort and you're just coasting along, something along those lines. And it was from Andreina, and honestly, everybody agrees. Next is Cierra. The first postcard she gets is talking about how she's very loud in the bedroom with Nick, and I think that is so disgusting. And she goes, we always try to be respectful, but last night we were celebrating, so fuck y'all. And I'm like, ew, I don't like you.
And we were celebrating yesterday. Fuck y'all.
Her next postcard is from Pepe, and he addresses it to Cierra, Olandria, and Chelley. And he writes, why did you girls choose to send Hannah home? The logic doesn't make sense. She had a true connection, blah, blah, blah. And when she went on to explain again their logic of sending Hannah home, it pissed me off again. It actually pissed me off even more than the first time because it's like, first of all, she has an arrogance to her. I don't know if anybody can sense it. It bothers me a lot. Okay, Cierra, I don't fuck with Cierra. And she goes on to explain again their logic, and it is the most stupid, nonsensical bullshit I've ever heard. She's like, you need to explore. You can't have tunnel vision after just hanging out with one person. Why the fuck not? If you like someone, why can't you just like one person?
Hannah, at that time, had the chance to explore two really strong connections. But I feel like you're someone who came in and was really adamant about wanting to explore. And I feel like once you and Hannah had gotten paired up, it was very tunnel vision.
I wish they would just be honest and be like, Hannah wasn't in our friend group and we didn't really like her, so we sent her home. Or Hannah was a threat because she had a real connection. She had the strongest connection out of our friend group and we didn't like that, so we sent her home. I would have a little bit more respect for her if she were honest. And what pissed me off even more was when she spewed that bullshit about, well, because Hannah went home, you found Grayson and you have this amazing connection with Grayson. Aren't you so happy that we did that for you? Because if we didn't send Hannah home, then, you know, she could have been distracting you from your possible connection with Grayson, holding you back.
If you look at where you are now, like sitting next to Grayson, having gone through CASA, like clearly it's possible for you to have found another connection.
Are you fucking kidding me? What kind of dumb fucking mental gymnastics is that? That really pissed me off. Oh my God. You know what? By your standards, you should go home. Okay, pack up your shit and go home right now since you are tunnel visioning on Nick and you should be exploring. This is Explore Island apparently. So go home. Now, what was really frustrating is Pepe did not say anything back. He was like, okay, I respect that. No, don't respect that. That was unrespectable. I know he's being a gentleman and that's why he probably didn't talk back to argue, but damn, I wish he did. Now, Chelley piggybacks and she's like, yeah, it was all about who was really in here to explore and not lock in. What? That doesn't make any sense. This is Love Island, not Explore Island. If I hear any of them say explore one more time, I am going to explore on their ass.
I mean, it was tough, but it was a thing of like who's here to really explore and not lock in off of the first like connection that you feel is so strong.
I'm gonna lose it. I don't want to hear explore. Explore, you need to explore. Don't lock in, don't tunnel vision. Like, oh my God. Then Amaya Papaya is next. She gets a postcard saying that she snores, haha, hee hee, very funny. And then she gets a postcard from Austin saying that she cries too much and that she tries to move so fast. Why the fuck would he write that? You should have told her to her face when she asked you multiple times, am I doing anything that bothers you? Are you sure? Do I do anything to make you feel uncomfortable? But you were a little bitch and you said no. And now you're going to write a postcard. And first of all, he didn't even sign it. He made it anonymous and then he admitted to it after. And she starts to cry, as she should. Like, I feel so bad for her. She's just getting fucking piled on by 3 men. And then Ace piles on and he's like, you know, when you kept saying babe this, babe that. And then she gets more emotional. And then Zach takes the frickin' cake and he piles on her current partner. So all these 3 guys are talking about how she is too much to handle. They don't like it.
The intensity of your emotions and feelings and wants, like, just felt like they built way up.
I'm tired of people viewing that as a negative instead of a power move.
Time out. When you saying, babe, can I grab this for you? Babe, can I do this? Are you coming at it very, very strongly off the rip?
Thank you, guys, for sharing your thoughts.
I feel like I have to take a step back.
Zach, you had every opportunity to tell me that when we were
We
sitting
did
in
have all
all
that
the
conversation.
fields,
That's
and
what
you
I was
did not.
about
You
to
waited
say,
till
but
this moment to speak to me in front of 20 other people here. I just need a break right now.
I felt so bad for her. That was completely unnecessary. And she handled it so well. And thank you, Brian, for speaking up. He was the only person who spoke up. I can't believe none of the girls did. So after Amaya runs off crying and Ace ran after her, I was like, why? Sit your ass down. Leave her alone. She does not want comfort from you. Pepe is next. He says it's been hard since Hannah left. He can't force to go a certain pace with Grayson. And you know what, Pepe? Go get your girl, okay? I did not know that their relationship was so strong. And I'm really sad that they didn't show that. Can the Love Island producers please bring Hannah back into the villa? Like, I know they never do that, but like, can you please do that for us? They've been bending all the rules, changing all the rules this season. Like, do this. Please give the people what they want. I don't even want Jeremiah back. I don't think it would be good on his mental health to go back in that environment, but I think Hannah deserves a second chance, and I would just love to see Sierra's face when Hannah walks back in. She would do her fakey fake pageant smile like, oh my God, I'm so happy that you're back. Oh my God. You know, when in reality, we know she would be so annoyed and that she would feel threatened now that she and Nick wouldn't be the strongest couple there. Then it's Ace's turn. If you and Chelley are so strong, then why aren't you closed off? From Amaya. And Ace responds saying that that was Chelley's decision because she wanted to explore her connection with Chris, so that's why. To Ace from Austin. People suck up to you. Jeremiah was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. And when he heard Jeremiah's name, Ace was triggered. He was pissed off. He immediately turned to Andriana and said, do you feel like Jeremiah was coming on to you pretty strong? And she goes, yeah.
Andrina, do you feel like Jeremiah was coming on to you pretty strong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Girl, bye. You need to pack up your shit and leave too. It was so obvious that she was reciprocating his feelings. They were both mutually into each other. Jeremiah even told her that after his whole thing with Huda, he wanted to take things slow. Oh, I was so disappointed in her answer. I don't know why she said yes. Or she could have said, yes, he came on to me strong, but I wanted it just as much as he did. Oh my God. By the way, I heard Jeremiah unfollowed her on Instagram right after this episode aired. Period. As he should, King. So after she says yes, he feels validated and he's like, see, Jeremiah is a love bomber, okay? And I had to stop that cycle. I was protecting the villa from the love bomber.
One of us out of the two is 6'5" and one of us is 5'10" and has the balls to say some shit around here.
And Ace doesn't stop there. He's pissed, right? He's activated now that Austin called him out. How dare somebody call him out? So then he exposes him for all the shit that he talked about Amaya behind her back. And now Amaya's activated. She is upset because she didn't know that Austin was talking all the shit. So Austin's flustered. He forgot that this whole entire topic was even about Jeremiah. And I think that was Ace's goal, to pivot the conversation, because he didn't want to talk about Jeremiah. He didn't want to get called out. So Austin is now in a position where he has to defend himself. And I'm thinking, damn, Ace is a master manipulator. He is good at this. So now Austin's talking about why he hasn't been honest with Amaya, and she starts chiming in because she's upset, rightfully so. And then he says, this is a chance to air stuff out. Do you not understand what that means? What did you mean by that, Austin?
A chance to air stuff out, Amaya.
All right.
Do you not understand what a chance to air
No,
stuff
I
out is?
understand
Because
what
I was
that
airing
is. You
stuff
don't
out.
need to interpret that from.
There he is. The real Austin's coming out. Honestly, he probably wrote her off the minute he found out that she and her family immigrated here from the Dominican Republic. Amaya tells him, you never once said any of this to my face. And he said, I didn't because of this reaction.
Because this reaction, I didn't want to deal
What
with this
reaction? What the fuck are you talking about? You're the one with the neck veins popping out.
Ooh, I repeat, the real Austin's coming out. He needs to go immediately. I hope tonight's episode is a mass dumping and a bunch of these losers leave the villa. Now it's Chelley. To Chelley from Ace, why do you expect boundaries for us when you want to go explore other people? I think he was referencing the heart rate challenge, and I still think Huda did too much, and she even admits it herself that she did too much. But for Chelley to not be upset with Ace, that confuses me. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and assume that she did not see Ace grab Huda's ass and bounce them on his sausage while making out, okay? So they should definitely show that scene on movie night. By the way, speaking of movie night, there's a rumor that there's not going to be a movie night. I don't know who started this rumor, but that better not be true. We need movie night. Because if we do not get movie night, I think every single viewer is going to be pissed. We are going to be livid. Okay? Give us movie night. I want it either tonight or Sunday night. To Chelley and Chris, why haven't you had a conversation since Casa? From Brian. Chelley says that there were intentions from Chris that were not followed through after Casa, and Chris is like, okay, like what? And Chelley says, I feel like you have been avoiding me, and therefore I stopped making an effort because I'm not going to ruin things with Ace just to try to chase you. To Chelley from Huda, do you remember saying that it's just a challenge? You and Ace are still open. And she tells her, you used to tell me when I was with Jeremiah that it's a challenge. It's just a challenge. Relax, it's just a challenge. And Chelley responds to this by saying, that was regarding bombshells because you would tweak out on them. You would call them bitches. You would talk shit. You would yell at them. You would be mad at them. And that's why I said that. It's just a challenge. And I absolutely agree with Chelley here. Let us not forget, Huda used to be mean to the bombshells. She would freak out on them, calling them bitches, talking shit about them. So it makes sense why Chelley would reassure her and be like, calm down, it's just a challenge. Don't worry, they're new here. They don't know him. They don't know you, and vice versa. They're just here to do their jobs of a bombshell.
And you wanted to tweak on bombshells who don't know you, who don't know Jeremiah, who don't know your connection, and you wanted to be so furious at them for no reason. And I feel like too many times I give you a lot of grace for stuff, so I'm trying to hear you out right now, but I really don't.
So I do think that it's totally different from the bombshells doing a challenge and Huda doing the challenge on Ace, where she picked him to dance all over. Now, Huda even agrees she did too much. She apologizes to Chelley and says that she shouldn't have done that and she will never do it again. And she ends it with, I hope you can forgive me.
I did that in that moment. It upset you. That won't happen again. And I shouldn't have done that. All I can say is I'm sorry.
Next is Huda. Huda from Nick. I feel like Hannah was robbed from her Love Island experience twice while you should have been dumped from the island. Now this confused me because I thought he made up with her earlier that day. He even pulled her aside to check in on her. So I don't understand what the point of that postcard was. But also, I agree with Nick. If anything, Huda should have gone home and not Hannah. But honestly, that is not her fault. It's not her fault. She can't help that she's still there. I think he needs to turn to his right and ask his girlfriend, because she and her friends were the ones who sent Hannah home, and she and her friends chose to save Huda. To Huda from Chelley. If you're going to preach about being a girl's girl, practice what you preach. To want loyalty and respect from your friends, but not give it is crazy. You say how your intentions are in the best interest of your friends when they're actually selfish. And Huda says, is this about Chris? And Chelley says, it's about everything. Huda wanted everyone to respect her and Jeremiah when she didn't extend the same respect to her relationship with Ace or Chris. And it really bothers her that Huda made it seem like she was bringing Chris back from Casa Amor from Chelley when it was really for her.
Because I was interested in Chris.
What?
Bringing Chris back was not only for you.
But you kept saying, but I'm doing it for you. You know what you want, but you want to make it feel like it's for me, and it's not for me. I would have much more respected that if you would have came to me and been like, Chelley,
and been honest about it.
Now, if you go back to that conversation between Huda and Chelley right before the recoupling at Casa Amor, Huda does tell Chelley that she is also interested in Chris and that she is also going to pursue him. She's going to couple up with Chris, but it can also be for Chelley too. It kind of benefits the both of them. And then Olandria chimes in and she says, all right, but you say you're a girl's girl and I know you don't kiss and tell, but do you want to tell the class what you told me?
If you wanted her to continue to explore this connection and you value the sisterhood, I get that you don't kiss and tell, but do you mind telling the class?
What do you mean?
That they kissed in the speakeasy.
Oh, Olandria. Olandria loves to spill tea and act like she didn't mean to spill it. If you go back, there are so many times where she, quote, accidentally spills a tea. Now, in my opinion, I think the girls are plotting to get Huda out. And Chris goes, okay, but that's between me and Huda. That's our business. And Olandria goes, well, it's out now. And Huda's having a mini crash out, okay? It's a very mini one compared to all her other ones. And honestly, I feel like it was understandable. It probably felt like an ambush to her, like people were piling on. And I do think it was a pile on. Just like how Nick, Austin, and Ace piled onto Amaya, I felt like this was a pile on to Huda from Chelley and Olandria. Does that make them mean girls? No, I don't think so. I feel like they were bothered by Huda from the very beginning. Rightfully so, right? Huda would crash out. She was an emotional vampire, and they let it slide over and over and over again. They did not address Huda. They did not tell Huda, or at least from what we've been shown, they let it slide over and over again. And so now for them to air this all out at this challenge, it seems like a pile-on, and it doesn't look good for them because Huda, like I said before, is in her calm era. She's in her redemption arc. And for them to just be like, you did this, you did that, you did this and that, it looks like an ambush and a pile-on. The timing was not right, in my opinion. And then we see Cierra and Olandria kind of giving each other the look as Huda's crashing out, like, ugh, there she goes again. And I didn't like that. Now, there's a lot of discourse about this. And people are so divided. It's crazy how divided people are. And there's very little room for discussion of nuance and like different takes. Like I agree with Huda on certain things, but then I also agree with Chelley and Olandria on certain things. There's a lot of hypocrisy from everyone, I feel like, because Olandria kissed Nick outside of the challenge because they were exploring, but Huda can't kiss Chris and explore? They love that word, explore. Everybody needs to explore. So why are they mad at Huda when she explored? Chelley and Chris were never closed off. They were not in a couple. Huda already told Chelley at Casa Amor that she was interested in exploring things with Chris, and Chelley said okay. Whether Chelley meant it or not, Huda told her, and Chelley said okay. I also recognize that Huda was a monster the first couple weeks with Jeremiah. She was crashing out after crash out after crash out after crash out. And she did in fact air out what Jeremiah told her in confidence about Iris. Just like how Olandria just aired out what Huda told her in confidence. You know, they're doing the same thing to each other.
Oh, also, Olandria, when I tell you something, it's between you and me, and that's it.
I get that, Huda, but if you're gonna keep pushing the sisterhood thing and saying you did it for Chelley, you wouldn't move like that.
And when I want to tell it, I can talk about it. It's not for you to tell somebody. That's not your place.
Then it's Olandria's turn, and Clark is like, oh, I don't like the way you said that I was a test. You know, what Taylor and I have is real. And she's like, congrats. But she does clear up how she didn't mean to degrade her by calling her a test. Like, she refers to everybody as a test, like everything in their relationship as a test. And I totally believe her. Last to go is Taylor, and shit popped off. It went crazy. Someone asked, how did your connection with Olandria change so quickly? And he goes, I met Clark and she gave me a different feeling, like I was a kid again.
Like, you know, you get that kid feeling and it's just like...
How old are you?
25.
Oh.
I can't be a kid.
Olandria brought a different energy today. It was giving she's fed up and that she's going to tell Taylor exactly how she feels. I think it took her a little bit of time to process everything and to build up that resentment, you know, and she let him have it. Now, I feel like it was a little too late. You know, we needed this energy a couple days ago. She tells him, you spared Clark's feelings, but you never spared mine, so I'm not going to spare your feelings right now. And she gets incredibly upset the more she talks, as she should.
When Jalen was here, I reassured this man every motherfucking day he didn't do shit for me. I have been so motherfucking real with Taylor, and I cannot express how fucking angry I've been.
And then Taylor shocks everyone by saying, I don't move for you. I move for me. I'm not moving to keep you here. I'm here to make a connection with whoever I make a connection with. And honestly, I was shook. I did not know Taylor was capable of forming thoughts like that.
Not once did I ever question my worth. What do you need from me? What do you need from this fucking connection? You couldn't say shit.
You want me to think for you and move for you? I'm moving to make a connection, whoever I make a connection with. And the way you was thinking was, you want me to move for you.
The very last postcard he got said, make up your damn mind. And Taylor goes, all right, fine. I choose Clark. And boom, the episode ends.
I pick Clark.
Oh, shit.
Woo! That was tense. But I feel like we needed this because everybody was playing buddy-buddy. They weren't telling each other how they really feel. And now we know. Now we know how everyone feels. Well, that's it for the recap. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I will see you in the next one. Bye!